Okay, guys, we'll get started then. It is a few minutes past, so anyone that's not made it can potentially do it on catch up. So, tonight's webinar, online seminar, is called End Self Sabotage. Give me 2 seconds, two more people have just arrived. And what we're going to cover is what to do if you find yourself saying things like, I get so far, then I just self sabotage. Or, I know what I need to do, I just need to do it. Or, I'll start again next Monday, week, month, year, etc. So put your hand up either literally by holding your hand in the air, or you can do a virtual putting your hand up just by pressing the options, and there's a raise your hand option there. Put your hand up if you've ever said any of those things. And I kind of presume you all have, because that's probably why you're here. 6 of you raised your hands, 7 have raised your hands, 8 of you raised your hands. And people are getting good at Zoom now, aren't they? Everyone knows how to raise hands. Yeah, you pretty much all raised your hands. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to look at what's happening when we don't do what we set out to do. We're going to look at how we can change that. We're going to take some actionable points away from it. And I've got a little offer at the end. Now, the majority of you on here tonight are existing members. There's a few of you on who aren't, who are potentially interested in what we do. And I always like to reward action takers, because I know how tempting it is with stuff like this to go away and have a think about it. And I know invariably when we go away and have a think about things, we end up talking ourselves out of it. So I've got a little offer at the end, which I will show you the link for in a second if you want to jump on before then, that if you're looking to make some more lasting changes, you're looking for more help on top of what I can cover in about half an hour in an online seminar, then just follow that link and check it out. So firstly, for those that don't know me, which I think the majority of you on here do, but firstly, just a little bit of why you might want to listen to us and listen to me. Two-time National Fitness Awards top 6, top in the whole UK for about 6 years straight now on Free Index, top in Cheshire on Facebook, what was that top right one there, Trustpilot, etc., and hundreds of verified progress pictures. So I'd like to think we've got enough behind me and us and what we do to be worth listening to. But I've got a deal for you tonight. Now, the problem with a lot of these online things is I think over the last 2 years we've all been zoomed to death, because in most cases all we do is sit there and listen, and what happens is we probably don't listen all that well. We switch off to it, start thinking about other things, we're checking our phones, and we don't necessarily get all that much from it. And what I'd really hate on Sunday evening is to waste your time. I'd hate for you to go away from this without something that you actually then go and do something with, because that's just pointless. Knowledge is great, but without action, knowledge will never get us anywhere. So the deal is I'll give you something useful, and you promise to stay engaged. So phones away, no checking phones during the half hour or so we're going to spend together. And when I ask you to actually do something, when it involves writing stuff down or spending time thinking about something, please do it. Do we have a deal? Again, you can do a virtual hands up or just give me a wave, but do we have a deal there? Oh, you guys are fast. So much faster than it used to be with this. Right. Oh, thumbs up as well. Got hands up and thumbs up, doubly involved. So the first question we're going to ask is, why do I self-sabotage? And that's a question, as that tumbleweed shows there, that we're going to struggle to answer, because I don't really believe that we self-sabotage. And if we're asking ourselves why we self-sabotage, it's a really hard question to answer, because I don't think that we do. And by asking ourselves better questions about what we're doing, we might lead to a better answer, an answer that serves us better. Because if we're not self-sabotaging, asking why do I self-sabotage, we're not going to get anywhere with that. So, what is the definition of sabotage? Sabotage is when you deliberately destroy, damage, or obstruct something. In the official definition, it says especially for political or military advantage. But just taking that first part there, deliberately destroy, damage, or obstruct something. To me, sabotaging is where you do something because of the downside it's creating. So it's generally for somebody else, and you're doing something to make a bad aspect to something. What I think we do when we're doing the things that we consider to be self-sabotage is we're doing other things for the benefits that they provide in spite of the drawbacks they create. We're not doing them for the drawbacks. If we were looking to self-sabotage our weight, there are much easier ways to do it than what we've probably considered to be self-sabotage. By far the quickest way to gain a load of weight would be to probably drink pint after pint of sugar water, to eat lard by the stick. What we're doing isn't that. We're doing something that we enjoy, that we see perceived benefit in, that gives us value at that particular point, again, in spite of those drawbacks, not because of it. If we wanted to adversely affect our health, there are much, much quicker ways to do that than skipping a workout. We could go and lick some asbestos. We could drink arsenic. Extreme example, but again, we're not doing those things because we want to adversely affect our health, our energy levels, and our mood. We're doing them in spite of those downsides because of the advantage that we're getting, because of what that decision brings to us that we value. So we've got a few problems. Firstly, in general, I find the first problem that we often have when we approach anything really, and anything we're looking to do in life, but particularly health and fitness, is that we do it by ourselves. We think of ourselves essentially as this picture from the Hangover film shows, as a one-man wolf pack. We again tell ourselves over and over again, I know what I need to do, I just need to do it. And again, if that approach would work, we'd have got there already. When we do something by ourselves, essentially we're just letting ourselves down. And despite what we may tell ourselves, we're actually okay with that. We've let ourselves down many, many hundreds, if not thousands of times over the years. We don't really like it, but actually we're okay with it. We tell ourselves we're going to do something, we don't do it, it's actually fine. So when we go all lone wolf, contrary to the romantic idea you see in films, the lone wolf always starves. Wolves actually hunt together in packs. Those that work together succeed and thrive and do well. Those that go it on themselves starve. And we're very much the same. Again, if going it by ourselves had got us where we want to get to, we wouldn't be on this seminar tonight. We wouldn't be interested in finding out a potential answer to why I self-sabotage. If going it alone had worked for us, we wouldn't be thinking, I'll start again next week, next month, etc. So the opposite of that, two things, and this is really what I think Rise does particularly for people, is to get or to use a coach, to have someone there to help you, to guide you, to have a bit of accountability to. So again, you're not just doing it by yourself. So for those of you who are watching this tonight who aren't already members at Rise, you may decide based on some of the stuff we covered tonight that you want to have a look into getting us as your coaches. For those that are watching this that are already members, if you're not already using our coaching, which you are by coming on tonight, but if you're not using the systems as much as you could do, if you're not asking coaches when you're struggling, if you're essentially lone wolfing it, going a little bit head in the sand from time to time, hopefully this will act as a bit of an incentive, a bit of a nudge to engage more. I find there's a massive correlation between those that stay engaged in the program, that even when they're finding things a little bit difficult, even when life's getting in the way a little bit, they still comment in the Facebook group, they still book in for sessions, they ask the coach about stuff they're struggling with. There's a huge correlation between that and the results they get, and there's a huge correlation in the opposite direction between those that don't do that, those that go all head in the sand, and the lack of results that they get. And a massive part of success, again, is the opposite of going lone wolf, is being part of a peer group that takes us east. I mentioned in a recent blog, I talked about how a lot of people say that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I don't fully buy that, because if that was the case for me, I'd be the average of my 4 kids and my wife. But I do think that the peer group that you spend time with massively influences your average behavior. And the problem we often have is that when the going gets tough, particularly, we get pulled back to our peer groups that are in the direction that make us feel more comfortable. They're perhaps doing less well in that particular area, or at least know better than we are. And essentially what's happening is when we're spending time with that peer group, we're looking west. We're looking in the direction that we don't want to go in. It's very hard to move east when you're looking west. When the majority of your peer group aren't exercising, aren't making great food choices, it's very easy to become another one of them. A more extreme example I've heard of you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with is you put me in a room with 10 smackheads and I'll become the 11th one. Our behavior is influenced far more by the behavior of those that we spend time with than we realize. So by having a powerful peer group like the other members at Rise, we to some degree get dragged along by that collective momentum. And again, that's a little nudge for anyone who's not already part of that group who wants to get involved. You've got that little offer there at the bottom, myrise.co.uk/offer. For those that are already members and perhaps aren't engaging with that peer group as much as they could, again, a little nudge for you there. So back to that question I asked a minute ago, what's happening? When we consider that I know what I need to do and I just need to do it, because we're not. When we consider that we're self-sabotaging, when we're making other choices, what is fundamentally happening? And from my experience, often what's happening, and I like that little animation there, is that we're moving away from pain. So we've got not necessarily literal physical pain, but we have some degree of pain in our life. We don't like the way our body is. We don't like our energy levels. We don't like the way it looks. We don't like something about our current situation. And we want to move away from that. And that's fine to a point, but often what happens when we're purely moving away from pain is once we get far enough away from it, we kind of forget about it. We're not in that much pain and we forget. Like we stop taking aspirin when our headache goes. To give you another example of that, and I've mentioned this many times, and I've never really cracked this one myself, is I have problems with the skin on my feet. Sometimes they get really dry and cracked, and I only ever remember to use the foot balm that really helps with them when it's a little bit painful, or at least somewhere between a little bit and very painful. I moisturize them regularly until it stops being painful, and then it just kind of slips my mind because I've moved far enough away from that pain, and I end up slipping back closer until that pain reminds me, and I keep moving away from it. And if we're doing the same, again, we're only ever going to get so far. If we're just wanting to get away from that weight that is just too much, or that energy level is just too low, or that whatever other aspect of our health and fitness just isn't acceptable, once we get far enough away from that pain, chances are we're going to slip back. What will work better, from my experience, is moving more towards pleasure. Doesn't mean we can't have the movement away from pain as part of it, but if we're not moving towards something, I genuinely think there's only so far that we're going to get. So what I'm going to do over the course of the next few minutes now is look at what's important to you guys. We'll look at what you value. And by finding what we value and how these choices that we've previously struggled to do tie into what's truly important to us, it becomes a very different conversation in our head. It doesn't so much become a conversation of, I ought to, I should, I need to do X, Y, Z. We want to do them because of how it brings what we value into our lives. And often when I talk about values, we think of what we might actually call societal norms. We think we value politeness and good manners. And we do, but actually if you think about it, how much of your life is dedicated to those things? Do we get up early in the morning and spend hours working every day on good manners? No, it's a given really. Same with politeness, same with punctuality. It's something that has importance to us, but it's not really something that occupies a massive part of our lives. And we often end up thinking that the things we should value, again, are things that seem wholesome and good, and that other people have told us we should value. We often end up, without realizing it, having the values, or at least considering we have the values of our parents and those around us. But by getting clear on what we truly find important and how those decisions tie into that, again, it becomes a very different conversation. And ultimately, we always have time, we always have the following for what we value. We always have time, we always have money, we always have energy, space, focus, and we make conversation about it. Things that we value in life fit all those things relatively easily. So what I'm going to do now is ask you to spend 1 minute each, and this feels a little bit of a weird task to start with. I remember the first time I did it, but please do it. Please have a pen and paper, and please actually have the integrity to do this properly, to spend a minute answering each of these questions. And the first thing I want you to do is to look round and write down, how do you fill your space? There's no right or wrong answer. You can't get this wrong. Think about where you are right now. Think about the rest of your house. Think about your where you go to work, etc. With that.
Work papers. Go away.
Okay. just check who needs muting. Give me a second.
I hope that's not me.
Sorted. Right, next question. Same thing essentially. How do you spend your time? 60 seconds. What do you spend most of your time on? Again, don't overthink it. Just write down things you spend a lot of time on. Okay, and we've got the same question now. Your energy. Where does most of your energy go? On a daily and weekly basis, where do you spend most of your energy? Again, no right or wrong, just write down anything that comes to mind. Okay, a few more of these. 1 minute on how do you spend your money? Where does most of your money go? Again, don't overcomplicate it. What do you spend your money on? Just realised the timer stopped there just while I was checking if anyone was in the waiting room. So that's been about a minute. Let's get that on. So what aspects of your life do you show the most organisational ability, the most reliability? Where are you most kind of steady with things in your life? Okay, I've actually sneaked slightly into this one already, actually. Sorry, I jumped a bit ahead slightly. So where are you most reliable, disciplined and focused? Again, don't overthink it. Just write down whatever comes to your mind. Don't think it's right or wrong. There is no right or wrong. I think that's where we often go wrong with thinking what we value. We think that some values are somehow better than others, somehow are more worthy or more important. If we value them, they're our values. If we don't, then they're not. So where are you most reliable, disciplined and focused? I think this might be the last one. What do you think about the most? So on a daily basis, we have however many tens of thousands of thoughts. What crosses your mind the most frequently? This is the last one, I'm sure it is. What do you talk to others about the most often? So what do you talk about the most? Skip that one. Right, there we go. And identify the highest values. So what you to do is look through everything you've written down there and what 5 to 10 things came out the most. Because I can guarantee there'll be a number of things that were repeated, not necessarily across every single one, but things that came up time and time again. So write down 5 to 10 things that came out the most. Again, don't overthink it. Just write it down, circle things, look through. No right or wrong. In all those questions there, what things came out the most. And then the last one now, I think this is to put them in order. If you could only do one, which would it be? And then if you could only do one of those, what would it be? And I want you to come up with maybe 3, maybe 5 at most of the top 5. So if you genuinely had to pick, you could only have one of those things in your life, which would you do? And just keep doing that with the 5 or 10 that you've got and end up with about 3 to 5 at most. Okay, now, in theory, you've got a list of things that you truly value. Again, there's no right or wrong. If you think it's important to you, you value it, then that's your values. And when we get clear on how different decisions tie into living our life within those values, then again, those decisions get much easier to make. So I'll give you an example with my values. The thing that came out time and time again in every single thing was family, particularly my wife and 4 kids. And when I look at a decision and look at how it ties into me being a good parent, providing for them, etc., it makes it often a relatively easy decision. So there's things about running the business I don't necessarily find easy or comfortable. If I know they help the business be successful and they'll help provide for my kids, then it's a no-brainer. I know from a health perspective, for me, looking after my health is very much about having the energy that I need to provide for my kids and family. And then my second highest value is about being a lighthouse, being able to lead people and help them make changes in their lives. And I know that I can't do that unless my energy levels are high. If my energy levels aren't an 8 or 9 out of 10 every single day, I can't do what I need to do to be able to do the things that I value in terms of helping support you guys, everyone else who's a member or who benefits in some way from what we do. I can't support my kids. I can't be there. I don't have the patience level for them. I can't set the example I need without looking after my health and fitness. So to me, exercise, better food choices on average, they tie very, very much into that. And when I think of those choices, not a do I want to eat it because it's tasty? Do I want to have that because it's convenient? But more of a does this decision tie in with my values? Does this allow me to live the kind of life that I want to do the things that are important to me? Again, it becomes a very different conversation. So my homework for you is for 1 week, I would like you to remember those things that you've written down as your highest values. And when I say remember them, have them written down, have them somewhere that you'll see on a regular basis. If I see you in the middle of this week and I just out of nowhere go, what did you put down for your 3 to 5 highest values? I want you to be able to reel them off instantly. I don't want you to go, oh, yeah, that values thing we did on Sunday. I want you to know what your highest values are. And I want you to ask whenever faced with a decision where you're tempted to make what you, in your heart of hearts, know perhaps isn't the best decision because it's perhaps easier to make that other decision, more convenient, cheaper, quicker, makes you feel better, whatever it is, ask how it ties into what you value. And again, don't tell yourself that your values are any less valid than anyone else's. So if we value relaxation, if we value quality time with our other half, if we value ease in our life, any of those things are absolutely fine. How can exercise, better food choices, etc., tie into that? If we value relaxation, are we perhaps actually more genuinely relaxed when we're working out and eating well than we are when we're not doing those things and sedating with alcohol, food, TV, etc.? Again, no right or wrong. If something came up most frequently across all those questions, that at least gives a good indication of the area in which your values are. And by asking how these decisions tie into that, you stand a way better chance of living a life that you're happy with and okay with than if we just go for what on the face of it seems to be the easier option. So again, what I don't want you to do is think of yourself as a one-man wolf pack. We're in this together. For those of you that are already existing members, stay engaged, get engaged. For those of you that aren't, I've got a little offer that I'm going to come to in a second. If you want to get involved with what we do, then you'll want to listen to that. Again, the lone wolf always starves. Again, getting and using a coach and being part of a peer group that takes you east, to me, are the two most powerful things that we can do. I've mentioned many times I have my own coach. I was up in Newcastle this last Thursday for my one-to-one day with my coach, and I invest a fair proportion of risers turnover in my own coaching because I know that allows me to deliver at a higher level in a way that I want to, that ties into what I value. So, for those of you that aren't already a member, I've got something that might be of interest to you. If you're already a member, feel free to drop off. But again, please do stay, remember those things you put down as your values, and please do, for the course of the next week, ask yourself those questions. How do those things tie into what's important to you, what you truly value? So if you're a member, feel free to drop off. Those of you that aren't, what we do on the Great in 8 program is we help busy people lose £20, 10 to £20 in 8 weeks, and develop lasting healthy habits without having to do boring exercise they hate and give up their favourite foods, all backed with a money back guarantee. So if you're not currently a member, got a little something for you. Normally the Rise Together program is £97 a month. Got a little offer tonight only. You get that 8 weeks that you normally do up front for £50 off. So it's £50 saving tonight only. And what you get for that is you get to lose 10 to £20, increase your energy and feel better over the course of the next 8 weeks, guaranteed. You get 3+ coach-led sessions at our club down in Macclesfield. So all you need to do is just turn up and enjoy it while you're doing it. You don't need to have a plan. You don't need to know what's going on. You just need to turn up. All our sessions are available live, online, and on demand and on catch-up, so you can always get a session in. There's ongoing nutritional habit and accountability support, so you keep going to the results that you want. It's not like most places where you join and at best get given a list of things to do and then made to feel guilty when you don't do them. It's being part of a group of like-minded people on the same journey, so you're not in this alone. And again, you've got that money back guarantee that you can't lose. They're things that are always there. If you take advantage of this offer tonight, again, you get to save 50 quid, but you'll also get an extra coach-led session on tracking your food so that you 100% know how to do it as quickly and easy as possible. You're going to get 4 bonus one-to-one check-in calls over those 8 weeks, so there's no chance of you not knowing what to do or getting what you want from this. And you get bonus access to coach-led yoga, Pilates, and flexibility workouts so you can cover all bases. And if that sounds like something of interest to you, just head to myrise.co.uk/offer. Again, there's a little discount there to reward action takers. Again, to my mind, what have you got to lose? I always say to people, if you're 50-50, give it a go. Worst case scenario, you do the 8 weeks and the end of it, you didn't think it was absolutely awesome. You weren't super glad that you did it, and you're covered by that money back guarantee. So that, guys, is it. Nav, thank you for your time, mate. The other message, I don't know who that's from, but pleasure. That's it, guys. Thanks for your time. I'm going to leave that on there. Again, those of you who aren't already members, check out myrise.co.uk/offer.